Welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to completely flip the script on one of the deepest, most profound dilemmas of human existence. We're looking at a really fascinating breakdown of why things go wrong in our world. And look, if you've ever felt the crushing weight of the world's problems just resting heavily on your shoulders, I promise you, the answer we're unpacking today is absolutely going to change how you view your own struggles.
So let's just dive right in by confronting a classic problem that has bewildered pretty much everyone at some point. If God exists, why do we suffer? I mean, it's the ultimate question, isn't it? We look around at the daily tragedies, the sudden sicknesses, the profound heartaches, and we naturally wonder, why a higher power isn't stepping in to stop the whole shebang. It's totally human nature to look for a reason when we're in pain, and quite often our default is to point the finger upward. We blame God for everything, asking why he allows such immense hardship to persist while we're down here just struggling to make it through the day. Section 1. The problem of suffering, decoding a universal dilemma.
Now, to really wrap our heads around this dilemma, our source text gives us a foundational anchor from Surah Ash-Shura, verse 42-30, which reads, "Whatever misfortune befalls you is of your own doing. God forgives much." Now, at first glance, wow, that statement can feel incredibly jarring. It genuinely sounds like we are being blamed personally for every single bad thing that happens to us. It's like God is saying, hey, you brought this on yourself. And honestly, that feels pretty heavy, right? It breeds this deep sense of internal guilt, making us feel like our hardships, our illnesses, our bad days are just a direct, intentional punishment for our personal shortcomings. It leaves us constantly wondering what on earth we did wrong to deserve our struggles. Moving on to Section 2, decoding a misunderstood verse, the junk food analogy.
The source text brilliantly illustrates the reality here using a super simple everyday junk food analogy. See, we typically imagine divine punishment as this lightning bolt from the sky, right? Like an active, angry strike from a higher power aiming directly at us. But the reality being described here is much more about the natural consequences of human habits. Think about it. If we eat highly processed junk food every single day, it eventually harms us. We get lethargic, our health declines, we get sick. But it's not God actively causing the disease. It's just our own daily habits taking their natural biological toll. And what's truly fascinating here is how the text entirely redefines the concept of divine forgiveness. Forgiveness isn't God waving a magic wand to make the world perfect. It's more like eating that junk food for years and miraculously not getting severely ill anyway. That buffer, that breathing room between our poor actions and total disaster, that is the grace in the equation. Section 3. Individual guilt vs. collective action. Rethinking the you. To really break away from this whole idea of personal guilt, the source asks us to look at a powerful historical example. Just think of the prophet, peace be upon him. What wrong did he do? He was known for being incredibly righteous, deeply ethical, remarkably kind. Yet he faced unimaginable physical and emotional trials. We're talking exile, the heartbreaking loss of loved ones, starvation, constant threats. If personal suffering strictly meant personal guilt, how do we possibly explain the immense hardships faced by one of the best people to ever live? It just doesn't add up. The equation of bad things happen because you are bad completely falls apart when you look at the lives of history's most righteous figures. So because of that huge disconnect, the text argues that the you being addressed in that verse isn't the individual at all. Actually, it's addressed to mankind. It refers to humanity as a collective. Right now, humanity is suffering through what the source calls a MetaCrisis. I mean, we're literally drowning in rising cancer rates, sweeping psychological issues like profound modern depression, rampant drug use among youth who are just trying to escape their reality, massive global conflicts, and severe climate issues threatening our environment. And what causes all of this? It's not a divine curse from above, it's unchecked human activity. It's our collective systems prioritizing endless growth over actual human well-being. We are suffering the vast, devastating, and entirely natural consequences of our own collective works. Which brings us to Section 4, the trap of the system, how man-made structures shift the blame. This brings us to, honestly, the ultimate gaslighting of our modern lives, how the system itself operates and completely manipulates our perception of failure. Let's walk through it. Step 1. The system itself starts failing. Maybe the economy crashes because of reckless banking, or institutions break down because they're just poorly designed. Step 2. Because of that massive structural flaw, you experience personal loss. You get laid off, you can't afford rent, or you underperform in a completely rigid educational environment. But then comes Step 3, the brilliant, awful twist. The system aggressively turns around and blames you. It points the finger and says, well, you just didn't work hard enough. You didn't hustle. You weren't smart enough. It's a complete lie. It's designed to shift the blame away from the failing structure and place the burden entirely onto your shoulders. So, what exactly is the system we're talking about here? It's the very fabric of our modern society. It's the rules, the economies, and the institutions we rely on every single day for our sustenance and survival. And the absolute most dangerous trait of this system is that it is structurally designed to never, ever emit fault. Because of this incredibly manipulative setup, we internalize the guilt. We start believing the lie. We think low of ourselves, and we let anxiety just consume us. But the most liberating takeaway from this explainer today is this. Your struggle is not your fault, and God isn't angry with you. You are simply bearing the heavy weight of a fundamental societal system problem.
Section 5. Escaping the System's Matrix, Finding True Guidance. Unfortunately, as the text points out, we often fall in love with the illusion of safety. We willingly become servants to the system because we deeply crave the predictability it promises, even when that exact same system is constantly blaming us for its own failures. We trade our freedom for a false sense of security. True divine guidance, however, invites us to become a servant to a higher power instead. And what that actually means is breaking free. It empowers you to think entirely outside the man-made system. It forces you to recognize that you have infinite possibilities to change your reality, to question the rules, and to forge a totally new path, rather than just silently accepting the blame for a broken world. And that leads us to what true guidance looks like in action. It's not just a mere religious exercise confined to sitting quietly on a prayer mat, completely disconnected from society. True guidance is an urgent, demanding call to take righteous action. It's about stepping out into the real, messy world and doing the incredibly hard work to build ethical, sustainable, and fair systems. Why? Because ignoring these failing structures means they're eventually going to crush us and the generations that follow us. True spirituality is ultimately about rolling up our sleeves and making everyone's life better by fixing the very roots of the metacrisis we find ourselves in. Which brings us to the ultimate crossroads. I want to leave you with this final thought to deeply ponder today. Are you going to remain a slave to a failing, man-made system that constantly shifts its immense guilt onto your shoulders? Or will you use your God-given free will, step off the prayer mat, and actually build a better, more ethical world? The system desperately wants you to quietly carry the blame and just stay in your lane. But the choice to break those chains, to radically rethink our collective structures, and to create something undeniably better, well, that choice is entirely up to you.